Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and I'll be right back. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margo D. Hello, my friend.
Hello, my friend.
This week we are dorking out about 1996's Scream, which is celebrating its 25th anniversary in December. Shit. That makes me feel so old.
Oh my God.
I feel old. It's also Scary Movie Month, hashtag Scary Movie Month. So we're doing scary movies all through October. This movie's directed by Wes Craven, R.I.P., written by Kevin Williamson, and it stars David Arquette, Neve Campbell, Courtney Cox, Matthew Lillard, Rose McGowan, Skeet Ulrich. I think I did that right. God damn it. Jamie Kennedy, Henry Winkler, the Fonz.
I forgot about him.
I forgot he was in this. And Drew Barrymore. You get to see Liv Schreiber for like a second. Mm-hmm. I'm like, hot. And
yeah, he's hot.
Every time I see him, I'm like, hot. That's all I could say. And Drew Barrymore. And this is the movie that inspired so many people's Halloween costumes. Every year, I see a million ghost face. Still. And I think probably one of the first horror films to adopt that like meta approach to storytelling where everybody in this movie knows they're in a horror movie. I can't think of one that came out before this, but maybe there is. I'm not an expert. I'm just this dork that likes to talk about movies. Did you see Scream in the theater?
I think I did. And if I remember, it's fun to see this movie with an audience.
Yes.
And because I love to laugh and get scared at the same time. And this movie totally did that.
Yeah, I love like horror comedies. I think
exactly.
I mean, I like horror movies in general, but I love horror comedies like this, like Shaun of the Dead, American Werewolf in London, things like that. And I remember I saw this in the theater too. It was super fun to see in the theater. The opening scene, by the way, we're going to be spoiling this movie. It's 25 years old. If you haven't seen Scream, you should pause and go and watch it because we're going to be spoiling it. And so when I saw this in the theater, so Drew Barrymore was all over the marketing for this movie. Like, she's like front and center on the movie posters. Like, she's in the trailer. Like, I thought Drew Barrymore was the star of this movie. And so the opening scene of this movie legit scared me when I saw it in the theater. And I had no idea she was going to die. This was like a big deal to me. Did you know?
I knew. But I forget how I knew. But I knew she was going to die. I think a lot of reviews too said it was like very much in the vein of Psycho, where you think it's a movie about Janet Leigh.
Yes, and
they kill her off in the first 20 minutes.
Yeah, spoilers for Psycho.
Spoiling Psycho for you guys.
It totally worked on me. I saw it maybe even opening night. So I don't think I had read any reviews, so I didn't know that she wasn't the star. So it really set the tone for me because at that point I was like, shit, anybody could die.
Gruesomely,
yes.
And their parents are there, and it's yeah. I mean, it's this one. I think about it now because I just updated my iPhone and I have Robo Killer, so it's all those robocalls have to go through my thing. If somebody were trying to kill me, it would be this recording of a guy pretending he's listening and that there's a kid bugging him to get on the phone. He's like, wait, sorry, what was that again?
Yeah.
It would not be as good as this movie.
Yeah. Ghostface would never, ever get in contact with me. Because if I don't recognize your name, I don't pick up.
And I have the ringer off, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, he could kill someone I love, I guess, and take their phone and call me. Don't do that, Ghostface. I'm not saying to do that. Let's talk about the opening scene. I think Drew Barrymore is so good in this. And I think the opening, it's gruesome as fuck. It's really, really scary. And it's really fucking sad. It's really sad.
You like her. She seems likable. I love she's had the Michelle Pfeiffer do.
Yes.
From what's the movie I'm thinking of?
Scarface.
Yeah, she has that in there, but she's got that sunny disposition, that Drew Barryness about her.
Yes.
And she's just then when the call goes south, because it would never happen. Also because I was just like, I'm super like, if I don't know who you are, we're not talking.
Yeah, right.
And she's like, oh hey, how you doing? I'm making popcorn. Yeah, just have a date, whatever.
Right.
And yeah, and it goes on and on and on, and then you kind of think for a second she's gonna get away, and then spoiler.
Yeah.
Her parents come home and she's murdered, and it's. Yeah, they got rid of. She was a big star at the time too.
Yes.
She was in a bunch of movies, so it was a big deal. And it was a big deal to have Wes Craven coming back and directing a movie, and Kevin Williamson's script is really good. Courtney Cox is in this thing.
Yeah, and
yeah,
and at this point, like Courtney Cox, Friends is huge, and Monica, she plays Monica on Friends. Everybody knows this, and Monica's high maintenance but very likable, and Gail is such a bitch.
She's a raving bitch. She's so mean. She's so ruthless. And where is this? In Santa Rosa? Like,
yeah, they filmed a lot of.
Not even a big city.
Right. Well, she's on like something called like Top Story, which is probably a current affair ish. I don't.
Gotcha.
Google it, kids. Current affair was like the thing in the 80s and early 90s. To get your true crime fix. So I think she's just back in that town to cover this murder. Like, I don't think she like lives there all year round or anything like that, but it's up in Santa Rosa, not far from here.
It's where my sister lives.
Yeah.
Look out for Ghostface.
Santa Rosa's great.
It's beautiful. Yeah, that home is great.
Oh my, everyone's home. By the way, I wrote in my notes, everyone's home is gorgeous and I want to move there. I'm like, maybe I should move to Santa Rosa.
You just have to worry about fires for half the year. But other than that...
Ugh, never mind. Yeah. I'll stay here where I worry about earthquakes. Sigh. And, well, also, the other thing I wanted to mention about the opening is the Ghostface, he stabs her. It's really gross, really sad. She's still holding the phone. And at one point, like, her parents come home and her parents... listen to her die on the phone. And I was like, that is some fucked up, morbid shit.
Well, it's a slasher movie.
Yeah, for a movie that's funny and gory, I was like, there's emotion there too. Like, I really like a lot of the people in this. I care about them. I don't want bad things to happen to them.
No, it's also genius casting, having like Neve Campbell,
yes,
who was like that sweet girl from Party of Five.
Yes,
Skeet Ulrich is in there.
He's handsome.
Oh, everyone a crush on him. He's got that Johnny Deppish, like super handsome thing. Matthew Lillard is really funny. He's one of the classmates. Yeah,
he is hilarious. I always liked him in this movie, and Jamie Kennedy. I think they're both really, really funny in this movie. I had new appreciation for what they're bringing during this rewatch, because especially the Jamie Kennedy character, he is the stand-in for the audience in this movie. Like, he's the one explaining all the rules and all this. They're both very funny, and Matthew Lillard has like dialed up his performance to like 11. This one goes to 11. Like, he dials it up to 11. He's like over the top, but I think he needs to be, and it really works. I really, really love Neve Campbell in this movie. I like how sweet she is when she needs to be, like sweet and vulnerable and soft when she needs to be, but then as the movie progresses and as she's attacked by Ghostface like 4 times. Like, she gets angrier. Yeah, she gets angrier and angrier. And by the end, when like she knows who the killer is, and we're gonna get there, like she calls him a pansy ass mama's boy. And it like made me laugh out loud. She's like, "Come and get me, you pansy ass mama's boy." Like, I love how angry she gets, because she should.
Yeah, well, she's playing someone. So there's this murder, and the kid. All these kids are in high school. And did you see the credits? that was supposed to film at Santa Rosa High School. And then the school board thought it was a comedy, and they found out it was a slasher film. So they said no, and they had to quickly find someplace else. And Wes Craven or somebody was so pissed about it. At the very end credit goes, and no thank you at all to the Santa Rosa school board.
Damn, I didn't see that.
But I believe they were teenagers. I believe they were kids. I mean, it was the smart thing is you get everybody around the same age.
Yes.
And just call them teenagers, and then I believe it. We forgot to mention Rose McGowan's in this movie.
Oh, yes.
And she's adorable.
She's adorable. Everybody drink.
Everybody drink. It's so weird, the trajectory of her life.
I know.
I don't want to dwell on it, but
yeah, no. Like what happened to her is awful, but also what she's doing and saying right now is
bananas.
Is not right. And I'm like, I'm confused by her.
She's confusing. We'll stick to the part.
Yeah, she is really good in this. I think everyone's really good in this. They feel like friends.
Yes. They feel like they clicked with each other.
Yes, exactly. And go ahead.
So there's the murder, and they're in high school, and Neve Campbell has a boyfriend, Skeet Ulrich, and she plays someone whose mother was found raped and murdered, and it's been a year. And in the year's time, her boyfriend's upset that she isn't over it. Like,
oh my God, I wrote in my notes.
I was so angry when I saw that. I mean, I remember in the movie theater, people were like, "Fuck you," but he's like, it's a big thing to get over. And she gave and this is another thing. It's like she gave the testimony that put away Cotton is his name, but he's played by Lev Schreiber.
Yes.
And then so Gail is that Monica? That's
Courtney Cox.
Courtney Cox. Yeah. So Gail is a reporter, and she reported on that trial, and she wrote a book about it. And then she said she thinks that the daughter, that Neve Campbell, screwed up her testimony, and she put away the wrong guy. And she's like really mad about it too.
Yeah.
Like, are you sure you got you're talking to a trauma victim here?
Yeah, just, be careful. I'm all tread lightly, but
well, she punches her.
Yeah,
lots of punching. There's a lot of punching in this movie.
I love Rose McGowan like retelling the story. Like, so Sydney, Neve Campbell, punches Gail, or she's like, "I haven't read your book. I'll go get it," or something. And Gail's like, "I'll send you a copy." And then Sydney punches her in the face. And then they cut to Sydney and Tatum back in Tatum's room. And she's like, "I'll send you a copy. Bitch goes down. Bitch goes down." Like the way she's retelling it made me laugh. Yeah, so Gail's kind of a bitch. She's not, it turns out, not wrong. Actually,
no.
Pretty smart. Gail is actually really smart. She's a bitch, and her character changes. She has an arc in this movie, and she has an arc through the whole series. Like you come to really like her, but she starts out pretty bitchy and gets a little softer by the end. And she is kind of, I'm like, is she the smartest person in the movie? Maybe.
She's up there. I mean, there's the rape and murder of the mother happened a year previously.
Yeah.
And then what starts to happen is people are getting stabbed. They're getting phone calls and then stabbed. And there's this, Henry Winkler's in there. He's the principal.
Yeah.
Teenagers being teenagers, they have to pretend nothing scares them. So they're making fun of the whole thing.
They're such assholes.
They're such assholes.
Teenagers are assholes.
They're the worst. And I was one. I was the worst when I was young too. I mean, you just think nothing can get you.
Right.
And I love it's so 90s. Like they work at a Blockbuster video place that's packed on the weekends, putting away the videos. And there's a group of guys that are obsessed with horror movies, and they talk about them all the time. And they're having these people over, a group of kids over, and there's this whole segment where these are the rules of horror movies. You're a virgin, you won't get killed. If you have sex, you will be killed. You don't leave the room. You never say, "I'll be right back," because you won't be right back. And blah, 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 blah.
You never drink. You never do drugs. It's about the sin.
Right. And so it's a slasher movie. People are getting killed. People are almost getting killed or almost getting, figuring things out. Arquette. Which Arquette am I talking about?
David Arquette. Yeah.
He was married to Courtney Cox at the time, or they were dating.
They met on the set.
They met on the set?
We're watching them fall in love.
Oh, that's very cute. You could see a lot of spark between them.
Yeah.
He's sort of the town doofus.
Yeah.
He works.
Yeah, he's the deputy, and he's kind of a doof. And she's manipulating him at first. Like, she's using him for her story. I think she actually starts to really like him because he is really sweet.
Yeah, he doesn't have a mean bone in his body, and he's trying to do the right thing. He's trying to be a good person and figure out who the killer is when they stop killing people.
Yeah.
And she is smart enough to get into a party that the kids are having. And she has this poor guy, this camera guy, that she just berates constantly.
Kenny.
Oh, man. He can't catch a break.
No, poor Kenny.
But he gets a camera inside the house. And they said it took like 21 days to film this party. And I believe it. Because this is a long, long party they're having at this gigantic house.
The house is amazing.
I can't even get over it. I wonder how much it costs. It's got to be millions, right?
Millions. It's got to be millions.
Because it's like 5 or 6 stories.
Yes.
I mean, it's floors, excuse me. Yeah, it's just ridiculous. But he sneaks a camera in there. So they're trying to figure out like what the kids are doing inside the house. And then the killings start to happen in the house. First, Sydney and Skeet have sex.
Yes.
And then when they're done.
You know what that means.
Yes. And she's trying to, there turns out, this was where I get confused. Mm-hmm. So Jamie Kennedy is innocent, right?
Yes.
Okay. So it's this duo of killers. It's Skeet Ulrich and Matthew Lillard.
Yes.
They're in it together. And let's just say it starts to get away from them because it's like a stab-a-thon in the house.
Yes.
And I'm not mad at it. It's just, I mean, there's kind of drawn out sections and then all of a sudden people are just stabbing. It's very stabby.
Yeah. And there is a lot of confusion here. And I wrote in my notes, I also get confused because Billy and Sydney have sex. Then Ghostface shows up. He pretends to stab Billy and then chases after Sydney. And I'm like, I don't know why that happens. Like, why go through the thing of pretending to kill Billy and then chase her like all over the place? And then later, like she's running around outside. There's a really great scene where she gets into the truck and into the news van, and Kenny's in there, and the camera's on a 30-second delay, so they see like Ghostface hanging around Randy, and they're like freaking out, like yelling at the screen, "Turn around, kid!" Like you would yell in a movie theater when somebody doesn't see the killer behind them. And for what and then the killer shows up. He kills Kenny. Poor Kenny. She runs back into the house. And
because he dies right in front of her in the car. Yeah. So she runs back into the house, and then Billy like shows up at the top of the stairs, and he's like, "Sydney," and he like throws himself down the stairs and then reveals himself to be the killer. And I'm like, why did they go through this whole thing about fake killing Billy and then making himself fall down the stairs where he could have broke his neck, by the way? There's a few falls. Nev Campbell, him, and Courtney Cox each have like a really bad fall.
Yeah.
That anybody else would be in a massive amount of pain.
Yeah, that's traumatizing for you.
That would it's traumatizing for me, but it's also just it would slow them down.
Yeah.
But it doesn't. And the problem is also, and it's just also looking at this as a modern lens, it's not very diverse. So there's a point where there's 3 guys in a camera looking exactly as far as I can tell. They're about the same height, same color hair, T-shirts and jeans. I'm like, I can't tell them apart.
Yeah.
So when they're confessing stuff, like Matthew Lillard and Jamie Kennedy at times are very interchangeable for me.
I understand, for sure.
So if they had a black friend, let's just say, that would help. This is, but that's okay. So that's neither here nor there. This is the movie they give us.
Yeah, and by the way, when I'm saying, like, why did they pretend to kill Billy? And then why does he fall down the stairs? That's just me being, like, nitpicky asshole. I realize that. Like, I still really like this movie. It's super fun.
It's great. I mean, it's
Yeah.
a reveal. It's a weird reveal,
Yes.
but it turns out that Billy's his name, right?
Yeah.
Skid Ulrich.
Yeah.
Okay, so Sydney's mother was having an affair with Billy's father.
Yes.
And it angered him so much that he had to kill.
It's pretty lame.
Yeah, it's kind of a lame reason.
For sure.
And then I don't know why Matthew Lillard was involved. It was just crazy.
I wrote that in my notes. I'm like, why is he in on it at all? Like, he says, oh, he's like peer pressure. Like,
yeah, I think he's just nuts.
I think he's just a bit of a psycho.
Yeah, yeah. But he's very stabby, and he has a very long, like, drawn out scene, like, I'm bleeding now. Once again, the phone rings. Once again, somebody has to answer the phone. Like, you don't have, I mean, people, this is my house of growing up. Like, my parents, everybody had to answer the phone all the time.
Yes.
We were never allowed to let it go to voicemail or a message or anything. Like, somebody called, you pick it up. And that's this universe. You pick it up. But that's when Sydney's in the house, and now she's calling them like, ha ha.
Yeah, and that's when she calls Billy the pansy-ass mama's boy that made me laugh out loud.
It's pretty hilarious. And then, and there's a scene where Gail has a gun and she doesn't realize that the safety is on.
Right.
And so they sock her and she falls back on her head and knocks out. But when she wakes up, she still has the gun. So this time she has the safety off. And there's a scene. Is it Billy at the very, very, very end when he's like falling down the stairs or something? And then Jamie Kennedy's like, okay, but this is the part where he'll speak up.
Yes, that's Billy. Yeah. Okay,
because it was a strange angle. But then Nev shoots him right between the eyes.
Yes. Good shot, Nev.
Good. She's had it.
She's done. She's over it.
She rescues her father. Her father was, tied up in the house.
Yeah.
And she rescues him. And then they all are, they call the police, and Gail has her scoop. She was there for all of it. And so she's gonna, and that's it. I mean, it's a movie filled with a lot of, song remakes. And like they did that at the time. They would pick like 80 songs in a 90s movie. They have a new band do it, like Letters to Cleo or somebody would do a song you'd heard before. And a lot of flannel, a lot of thin eyebrows.
So many thin eyebrows.
Lots of mini skirts.
Very thin eyebrows.
Lots of that. Lots of beautiful skin. It's this pop culture touchstone. It's great though. It moves at a good pace.
Yes.
The performances are incredible. They're really good.
Spot on.
Very believable. Yeah, it really is. And it just turned its whole idea on its head.
Yes.
And it's something that, like, I remember Siskel and Ebert always complained about slasher movies. They were always like, and this is kind of like a spit in their eye. Like, you can make one and have it enjoyable and have it be smart.
Yeah, these were kids that grew up watching movies, and it wasn't
exactly.
And they knew the rules and applied the rules. Like, I one of the things I love about the movie was the characters I cared about the most survive, right? So like Sydney survives, Randy gets shot, but then like sits up and is like, I never thought I'd be so happy to be a virgin, like, because that's why he survives. And Dewey gets stabbed, and I was I remember being very upset that Dewey got stabbed, because Dewey is, like I said before, like, he's a good person. He's kind of a doofus, but he's good and he's brave. Like, he wants to do the right thing. So I was very relieved when Dewey was like being wheeled into an ambulance. I was like, oh, okay, he's going to be okay. And by the end, I like Gail too. And so I was glad that she was okay. It was one of the things I really liked about it. And of course, it sets it all up for a sequel, because there has to be a sequel.
That's just how these things work.
Yeah. But the movie's tight. Like, it moves. There is a scene where I know people, I remember when I saw it, people were complaining. There's a scene where Sydney's in the bathroom at the school, and there's like a girl in there saying like, she's probably made it up. She's a tramp, just like her mom, blah, blah, blah. It's just like really bitchy teenager or cheerleader. And I know that some people were like, why is that scene even there? And I was like, I think that scene's important. I think it sets the stage for the fact that Sydney is maybe in denial about what her mom was really like. And I don't know, it also shows how fucking mean teenagers can be.
Teenage girls are vicious, man.
So mean.
We talked about this with Carrie last week. Like either you're in or you're out.
Yes.
And when you're out, you feel just so alone.
Yeah.
And yeah, I kind of thought that too, but I think it's just sort of for the audience. It's like not everybody believe, and it would be bitchy girls be like, oh, she's such a drama queen.
Yes.
Her mom gets all raped and killed and all, and she's like thinks she's special, and people are just weird.
Yeah, because teenagers are assholes. Like
they are.
Billy's
assholes.
First of all, it's revealed that Billy is the killer, but like before he's revealed to be the killer, there's multiple scenes where it's basically like, I know a man tried to kill you last night, but why won't you fuck me? It's like, fuck off, Billy. He's such a prick.
Yeah.
I know your mom was raped and murdered last year, but why are you still upset about it?
Get over it.
Yeah. And, how about some rated R action?
Too. Yes.
Yeah. My mom, yeah. He's like, my mom's gone too. It's like, dude, your mom just like moved into another house. It's not the same.
Not the same thing.
Fucking pansy ass mama's boy.
He is. But when you put the money into it, these films are great. It's just and this is like apparently Miramax, Bob Weinstein, the less rapey Weinstein.
Yeah. Oh, yay. The less rapey one.
He was in charge of this division. I think it was Dimension. But they were like Scream funded that company for years. For sure. They were not making it from those little independent films that they would like work their asses off to get Oscars for. Sometimes their box office for those were like 20 million at most. Mm-hmm. And they would spend 20 to 40 million just on the marketing. It never made sense. I always wondered about that. And then I had a friend who was up for a job there to work for Bob Weinstein, didn't do it. But they said, oh no, we make all of our money from the Scream movies. Like that's taking care of everything.
Yeah. This movie was massive. It was a huge, huge hit. It made so much fucking money.
Yeah.
Do you have a favorite character?
Well, that's a good question. I do like Dewey very much. I liked Rose McGowan in this movie. Yeah. I thought her character, she's a good friend.
Yes.
She's spunky. She speaks up for herself. I don't like the way she dies. That's a drag.
It's a total
I don't
drag.
like that she does die. Yeah. And it's a weird way. Like the what is it? The garage door?
Yeah. It's like she's trying to squeeze through the little doggy door and then he rolls up the garage.
She's so little.
Yeah.
She probably could do it normally. Yeah. If she weren't so freaked out. Yeah. I like her character a lot. I think she's smart and she's a good friend. Sydney's a great character.
Yeah.
It's a perfect person for Neve Campbell to play.
Yes.
Yeah.
She's
that's
really
like,
good.
She's really good at that. Skeet Ulrich is great as like the sensitive boyfriend turned psycho. They're all good. I have nobody I could knock on this. Everyone's really good.
I always have loved Randy, maybe because I'm a little bit of a Randy in that I had extensive movie knowledge as a teenager, so maybe I could relate to that. And I like his delivery of, just like if the cops watched Prom Night, they'd save themselves some time, referring to like knowing that Billy, basically saying through the whole movie that Billy's the killer. Like, what's Leatherface doing here? Like, that he's got a crush on Sydney. Like, all those things. I really love Randy. And he was my favorite character. I love Dewey as well, but I think Randy might be my fave. But I do love what Matthew Lillard is doing in this movie because I think it's fucking hilarious.
It's very over the top. It's very Jim Carrey-esque.
Yes.
He's putting all of his physicality into it.
Yeah. They never really, like you said, they never explain what his motive is. But boy, he super worships Billy. And I'm like, maybe he's got like a little crush on Billy.
That could be it. Homoerotic thing going on.
Maybe because he is like such a lapdog for him. He
has no skin in the game. Why is he even doing all this?
Yeah,
but he's also crazy.
Yeah, he's definitely crazy. I'm into it. Did you see any of the sequels?
No.
No. I definitely saw 2 and 3 in the theater, and I liked them. I like this one the best, but I like the other ones. And then I watched 4 last night, right after this, and I liked 4 as well. Like, it's entertaining. Once again, like, because Scream is first, like, that's just the one I'm gonna like the best. It did it, all the components, the like meta commentary, the characters, it did it first, so it works best for me.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought 4 was very entertaining and had something to say about like getting your 15 minutes of fame, like fame culture, you know, kind of how you don't have to do anything to be famous. You could just have things happen to you to get famous. It's got something to say that I thought was interesting. There's characters in it that I actually liked. There's other characters that annoy the fuck out of me, and I'm like, ugh, whatever. But I was entertained. I'll say that. I didn't hate it.
Okay.
I'm like, if you wanted to go through and like watch all the movies, I don't think you'd be sorry. Like, I think you'd be entertained. I think
it would get tedious after a while.
Yeah, here's the thing. I might have liked Scream 4 more if I hadn't just watched the first Scream. Like, if I had watched Scream and then a couple weeks from now watched Scream 4, I'd probably like it more. It's just side by side. Maybe wasn't my best choice, but I still was entertained by it. I was glad I did it. Mainly, I just wanted to make sure that Sydney and Gail and Dewey were okay.
And they're okay. Can we say that?
Yeah, they're okay.
Okay.
There was did you know, I did not know that this was inspired by a true story.
The Gainesville slasher or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How did I not know that?
I don't know, Sonia.
What's wrong with me?
Jesus, go to Wikipedia, will you?
So I learned something while I was dorking out about this movie. For people who don't know, also Kevin Williamson, who wrote the script, went on to do like Dawson's Creek. He wrote, what was the other ones? I Know What You Did Last Summer. He did Teaching Mrs. Tingle. I didn't watch that one.
No, I didn't see that one.
And Dawson's Creek was very, not a slasher, but similar in that it was super meta. It was very aware of the kind of show it was, at least at first. I didn't watch it consistently, but at first it seemed very aware that it was in a teen drama. And did you watch Dawson's Creek at all?
No, but I worked at YM magazine when that was on the air.
Oh my God. Was every...
And One Tree Hill.
Yes.
Those were the biggies. Like, they were the big heartthrobs.
Yes. It's his thing to write shows and movies where the characters consume media and can make those references, which then makes it kind of dated, but I still did like Dawson's Creek. I watched it off and on until it was over. I was into it. Let's see, what else? I'm going through my notes. I want to make sure I say everything I wanted to say and ask you all of my questions. Apparently there's also a TV series. Did you watch that at all? No, I didn't either.
No, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Nah, I don't think that's my jam. I don't think I'll be watching that. So originally, Drew Barrymore was signed on to play the lead. Did you read this?
Mm-mm.
So apparently, Bob Weinstein approached Wes Craven to direct. He said no. Then Drew Barrymore signed on to play the lead. She was going to play Sidney Prescott. And then Wes Craven's like, oh, well, maybe I will do it. So then Wes Craven signed on. Then there was a scheduling thing, and Drew Barrymore couldn't play the lead. So she just took on the smaller part. But Wes Craven stayed on. And I'm like, Drew Barrymore might have actually been good too, because she's very likable.
She is, but I think it really works with her in the iconic scene.
I think so
She'd
too.
been famous since she was like 4 years old. It's like they're not going to kill True,
right?
Like, what? And then they do.
Yes,
it just made it more shocking.
Yeah, there were other people attached to the other people who turned down the role include Molly Ringwald, who was too old for that part. She was 27.
Yeah, no,
she would have been too old. Brittany Murphy.
Aw, she would have been good.
Oh, Brittany Murphy. I watched that documentary about her.
It's a bummer.
Such a fucking bummer. Reese Witherspoon.
She would have been good.
She would have been good. Other people for Courtney Cox's role were Elizabeth Berkley.
Oh, yeah, but she had Showgirls.
But then Showgirls came out and people were like, no. Poor Elizabeth Berkley. I'm like, Showgirls is not Elizabeth Berkley's fault. I think we can all admit that.
No, she was trying to change her image.
Yes.
She was going for a big thing. You know, she put everything she had into it. It was a shitty script. And it was a sexist time. I mean, not her fault.
I'm like, I almost want to suggest we should do Showgirls on the show sometime, but I'm like, what could we possibly say
that has not been written about? I mean,
yes.
Yeah.
Other people who were up for Gale Weathers include Brooke Shields. And I'm like, she might have been good.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Jenny Garofalo.
No.
And I'm like, I don't know about that.
I've had a turn against her.
You what?
A turn against Janine Garofalo.
Yeah.
Last few years. Just some things she said. She kind of turns me off. I think she also just would be... She's so goddamn little. I don't know if...
I understand exactly what you're saying.
You know what I mean? Like, because she has to be kind of tough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying.
Perfect.
She really is. And I really, really like Courtney Cox in these movies. I think she's really, really good. And like I said, I think that Gail starts out as a real bitch. And by the end, she's a little softer. And I think she's fucking smart.
Yeah.
I also read that Joaquin Phoenix turned down the role that of Billy Loomis. And I'm like, he might have been good.
Yeah.
Other people for Stu, that's the Matthew Lillard part, was Freddie Prinze Jr. I'm like, I think he's too traditionally handsome for that part.
Yeah, but I would have been able to tell them apart.
Valid. Valid point. And then for Randy, the part that's played by Jamie Kennedy, it was Breckin Meyer, Seth Green, and Jason Lee all auditioned for that role.
I wouldn't be able to tell any of them apart except for Jason Lee.
Yeah, I think Breckin Meyer and Seth Green probably auditioned for the same parts all the time in the 90s.
I'm sure they still do. I'm sure.
I think they're like really good friends, right? They do like Robot Chicken. Do you ever watch Robot Chicken?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's like an animated, like a stop motion thing that's on Adult Swim. I actually don't know if they still make new episodes. I used to watch it all the time. I like Breckin Meyer and Seth Green and Jason Lee very much, but I think Jamie Kennedy is really perfect. I really like him. Do you want to hear about other movies that came out in December? This movie came out in December. Isn't that weird?
Counter-programming.
It totally worked. These are other movies that came out in December 1996.
Yeah.
Everyone Says I Love You.
Ugh.
It's the Woody Allen movie.
It's a musical.
Yeah.
And it's the one with Julia Roberts is hooking up with Woody Allen.
So gross. So
she looks like she could crush him.
Yes.
Like it's so frail next to her.
Woody Allen is gross. We all know this. Such a good cast though, because it's got Drew Barrymore. We love her. It's got Edward Norton. It's got Alan Alda. We love Alan Alda here at Dorking Out. Goldie Hawn. It's got really good people in it. I'm like, unfortunately, it's a Woody Allen movie.
It's not even just that. It's like it's a dumb singing movie, like for no reason. And I'm sorry.
Yeah. No.
Continue.
No, you don't need to be sorry. Fuck Woody Allen. Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, that was an overrated one, wasn't it? Or am I wrong?
No, I think you are right in that it is overrated. I think there are good performances in that movie.
Yep.
We should revisit Jerry Maguire.
We should revisit. My problem with it is like I didn't see it until after the holidays.
Yeah.
And by then I knew all the jokes.
The show me the
And
money
show
thing.
me the money. Boy, does that get tiresome. And that song,
Yep.
that Bruce Springsteen song where they intersperse dialogue
Yeah.
of the movie. You had me at hello. I'm like, oh, that's just too twee. I would punch somebody. So I probably went in there with an attitude. I mean, I don't know. It would probably be a good rewatch, actually.
Yeah, we should put it on the list. I think it is on the list, actually. So, The Preacher's Wife.
Never saw it.
Whitney Houston, Denzel Washington. It's a remake of one of my faves that I love to watch during the holidays called The Bishop's Wife with David Niven, Cary Grant, and Loretta Young. And I actually haven't seen The Preacher's Wife since the theater, but at the time I was like, that's fine. It's fine. It's not my fave. This one is one of my faves. Beavis and Butthead Do America.
One of the best.
Movie's legit hilarious.
That is one of the funniest movies ever.
I saw that one in the theater and I laughed out loud really hard multiple times. It is a funny, funny movie. Ghosts of Mississippi.
Yeah, that's a pick-me-up.
That's some good holiday fare.
Of murdering young people.
Good times.
People to vote. Ugh.
We did an episode on this movie, One Fine Day.
Yeah, that was an Adam Risky
I think,
episode.
We did Lake House, One Fine Day, and The Notebook all together in one episode. Go back and listen because it's a really fun episode. I really like One Fine Day. I have a huge soft spot for this movie. I will watch it anytime it's on. Other movies, Evita.
Boy, Madonna.
I don't know if I've ever seen the whole thing all the way through, actually. Is it good? Yeah.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
She's fine in it. I mean, she does what she does best.
Yeah.
It's one of her better performances.
Okay. That's saying something. The Mel Gibson version of Hamlet.
Nope.
Actually, is this the Mel Gibson one? 96. No, I think this is the Kenneth Branagh one. Sorry, my bad. My bad, everybody. It's the Kenneth Branagh one, which I remember liking, actually. And then the last two, one of them is Mother, with Albert Brooks's Mother with Debbie Reynolds.
I do like that movie.
One of my favorite comedies.
Yeah.
And then the last one is The People versus Larry Flint.
Overrated.
I really liked it at the time.
Yeah.
Have not revisited.
I did publicity for it.
Oh, interesting.
And I saw it a bunch of times, like before it came out. And after a while, I'm like, there's really not a lot of there.
Interesting. I should revisit.
Yeah.
I really liked it at the time, but it's been a long time. It's been a while.
It's been a while. So do you want to hear about some of the top songs of 96?
Yeah, I do.
Let me get my glasses on. All right. Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Reason. Really good song.
Such a good song.
Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men, One Sweet Day.
That song is a bummer.
It is. Tony Braxton, You're Making Me High.
Song is dope.
Dope jam.
I love that song.
Quad City DJs, Come On Ride the Train.
I made a little playlist maybe like a year ago, and it's all songs about like trains and stuff like that for Calvin because I thought he would think it was funny, and that was on it. He didn't think the playlist was as funny as I did.
Alanis, Ironic.
That was a good song, even if it's not technically correct.
No. Tupac, California Love.
I still super love this song.
Yeah.
It makes me groove.
It's a butt shaker.
Yes, exactly. That's a great way to describe it.
It gets your ass wiggling.
Yes.
And finally, the song you could not get away from. It was Goo Goo Dolls' Name.
No, you could not get away from it. Absolutely not.
They seem nice enough, the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, I don't hate the Goo Goo Dolls, actually. I pretty sure I owned that CD back when people had CDs.
I think we all had to.
You had to. It was the law, actually.
It was that in Alanis's, yeah. There's just no way you could. Yeah.
No, you couldn't get away from the Alanis Morissette album for like years, like three or 4 years. That album was everywhere.
Yeah.
What else are you dorking out about?
Speaking of bummers, a show that I'm really liking, it's called Dope Sick, and it's
on
Hulu.
Yes.
It's based on a book by Beth Macy, and we've talked about, is it the Sackler family?
Yes.
This very wealthy family that developed OxyContin.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to get into the market of pain relief and decided aspirin and everything doesn't really work. We're going to create a drug that's going to block pain but not be addictive. And they sold the shit out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And this takes place in a small town, and Michael Keaton is a doctor in this small town. And there's 8 episodes. We're like halfway through right now. And Michael Keaton is one of my movie crushes. I just love him.
Michael Keaton is awesome.
He is. He's really good here. It's got Peter Sarsgaard.
Sarsgaard.
It's really good. It's kind of a bummer. It's 1 hour a week, but you really do see the whole machinations of like selling to doctors, then they give to patients, and then you create a thing that is so addictive that people just ruin their lives over it and will rob other people. Will completely, and how quickly it happens and how quickly it destroys people. And
it's on my list. I'll bump it up. I'll watch it sooner. I watched the documentary about the Sackler family, the one that's on HBO, Crime of the Century. So maybe this would make a good double feature for people. Yeah, that's a tough one. That's fun, Margo.
It's a little bleak. I'm not gonna lie. I mean, but it's also I think justice will happen, but it's so hard. Like there's a scene Michael Keaton is hurt, and the emergency room person gives him some OxyContin, and he just looks at it, and you're like, "Don't take it. You're a good doctor. And
Don't do it.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it." The weird thing is, like, I've been prescribed it. I didn't like it at all.
I don't actually like taking painkillers. I don't like the way it makes me feel. I've been prescribed stuff like this because, we've talked about this on the show. I've had breast cancer and had surgeries and stuff. And let me rephrase that. They used to love to prescribe stuff like that. And I don't like the feeling.
No, nor do I. I'm lucky.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. Like some people, they take it and they're like, oh, yeah. Like this is the feeling I want. They like it.
Yeah. It's
sad.
It is sad. I mean, because I'm an addictive personality. I mean, it's not like I'm better than it. I'm just, luckily, it's not one that works for me.
Oh yeah, I have other addictions.
Yeah.
Try to take my coffee, see what happens. Tell me I can't have a beer at night. I'll cut you.
Yeah.
I get it.
I'm with you there.
I like that something like Dope Sick is out there because we all need more empathy for people that are struggling with stuff like that. And if we can have more stuff like that shows like how the system is so fucked up and kind of rigged towards people that can get so easily addicted to things. It's really sad. I'll put it on the list.
Yeah. I mean, because people just thought of drugs as just like cocaine and heroin and stuff, or party drugs,
Yes.
And something like this, which is almost so benign, it's a pain pill. It's just, you dislocate your shoulder, you want to feel better, boom. And to have it turn into something that kids learn, you can snort and get this high or just, it's just, anyway, just see Dope Sick.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. It's crazy because some people say when it comes to drugs, like, well, you made a choice. You're making a choice. And it's like, these people didn't make a choice. They had surgery and it was prescribed. And
they were told, the doctors were told, this is not addictive. And then they quoted some study about someone saying, there's like less than 1% of a chance. And when that person found out that they were using his study to prove this, he was enraged. He's like, no, that's not what I was saying at all.
Right.
But they told people is that we're having problems with addiction. And they're like, no. they're just still in too much pain. Double the dosage.
Yeah.
And that's when I started telling doctors to double the dosage. And it made everything even worse. And it's like all these pharmacies were being broken into. And like I said, ruining lives. People can't just function.
Yeah.
It's really terrible.
It's so terrible. But I'm still going to watch it because, yeah, it sounds
Michael
good.
Keaton.
Yeah. Speaking of other bummers, I finished The Way Down, which is I love me some documentaries. So I was watching The Way Down. It's on HBO Max, and it's about Gwen Shamblin. She founded this diet program called The Way Down. So it's WEIGH down, that kind of way down. But the documentary is called The Way Down, like WAY down. And she turns her basically pray your fat away diet into a full-on Christian cult, basically, and it's called the Remnant Fellowship, and it's a 3-part documentary with 2 more parts, I guess, coming in the new year. Mm-hmm. It's fascinating to me that because we, especially women, struggle with food. We spend way too much energy and time worried about food and diet and weight. And she kind of preys on this, where you what is it? You wait for your stomach to growl and you pray. And it's kind of taking intuitive eating and twisting it.
Yes.
It's fucked up. And as her church grows and her power grows, it turns into a cult, and it's hard to leave. They start brainwashing people, and for some reason her hair just gets fucking bigger and bigger and bigger. But it's really well done, and it's not just Christian cult. There's people she preys on people and she scares people, and people died because of it, including kids, which is fucked up and makes me angry. So angry. But we're
going to cover it on What a Creep soon. So.
Yeah, we are going to talk about it on What a Creep. I think the documentary is really well done, and I'm I just can't wait for those next parts. I want to learn more, which is the sign of a really good documentary series. I think they do a good job of interviewing people, and the people that they talk to do a really great job of explaining how they got there, which I think is really important, because I think a lot of people think, well, that would never happen to me because I'm not, bucking sheep or blah. And I think these people do a really good job of explaining.
And that's on HBO Max.
Yes, it's on HBO Max. It's really good. Everyone should watch it. If you like documentaries, I mean. Not everyone. You don't have to watch it. Or watch Scream. Because that's really good too. So, Margo, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me on social media at Brooklyn Fit Chick. That's for Twitter and Instagram. And my site is brooklynfitchick.com.
And everyone should follow Margo on Instagram. She is working on a book about movies that are filmed in Brooklyn. And she posts really cool photos on her Instagram with different movie sites and little tidbits about movies that were filmed there. And I think it's super rad.
Thank you.
I can't wait to read the shit out of your book. And if, like she said, if you like the sound of our voices, we talk about we do What a Creep. We will talk about Gwen Shamblin at some point, and you can find that at whatacreeppodcast.com. And you can find me at thesoniashow.com and The Sonia Show on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. And if you want some stickers, you could email us at dorkingoutshow@gmail.com. The stickers are really, really cute. We take requests, so if you have a movie you want us to dork out about, we're happy to do it. And you can find us at Dorking Out Show on Twitter, and you could go to our Facebook if you want, and I'll try to interact with you. I hate Facebook. I hate it. We should talk about just Facebook on What a Creep. Not even Mark Zuckerberg, just Facebook in general. But anyway, this was super fun. I am so glad we talked about Scream. This was a really good pick.
Matthew Lillard, if you're listening, you're awesome.
And I'll be right back.